2026 is going to be the year that a lot of businesses are going to struggle, or at least by the end of it. And hear me out, because what I'm seeing is a massive switch between companies in which they don't know what to do with the amount of work that they produce. What does that mean? Right now, a lot of companies just subscribe to ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini, whichever provider you want, right? And they are using it to improve their operational efficiency. So that normally yields improvements for themselves internally, but also improvements for the clients. And a lot of people are looking at this and are saying, well, if this person that is really experienced is paired up with some sort of AI, they can do the work of 2 or 3 other people. Therefore, what that looks like is I'm going to lay off a lot of people and I'm going to make my P&L look much better. I feel like this is an extremely short-sighted view of how work is gonna go, because the problem these days is not going to be operations, it's gonna be demand and distribution. So if what you're doing is saying, okay, I'm gonna lay off a lot of people just simply because this person is really good, and if I pair them with AI, then they will provide a lot of value for us, it's gonna end up really, really badly for you. In the short term, your board of directors is gonna be extremely happy, but it's gonna be extremely bad in the long run. Domain experts are domain experts, even in small businesses, simply because they are in contact with things that you don't see. So if you're a senior leader, the first thing that I am asking you to do is please research AI. If you're not using it, I'm sure you're using some sort of AI, but please research it, and then please put AI trainings in place so your people are comfortable using the tools. What is happening in a lot of industries, especially in software development, we are seeing a lot of commoditization. Previously, if you needed to build anything software related, you will need a team, you will need project managers, you will need a product manager, and so on. And right now, the way in which you can build tools closes that gap in a way that is never been seen before. And this is what is scaring a lot of people, right? I know of colleagues, ex-colleagues, friends that are in that field, and they don't know what they're going to be doing because a lot of companies are just shutting them off. Small businesses might not require Netflix-level engineers or Google engineers, and that's why they might be taking these decisions. So I feel like if you are not part of the top tier, at least in that field of skills, you probably need to pivot and start looking at the things that you've not done before, just simply because your role didn't allow you to do it. Communication, how to generate demand, marketing, product launches, gathering feedback, call outreach. All of these different things will make you still part of the current work that you're doing on a daily basis, but also it will allow you to bulletproof yourself if any of your companies decide to start the layoffs or to just simply reduce teams and perhaps transitioning certain members into different areas. Skills are the only thing that we have these days, and even with AI, the only thing that I see changing is that the skills that we've never worked before on, like the soft skills, are the ones that are going to matter the most. And what do I mean by that? Previously, in any technical field, you will put the technical skills and the technical managers in place because they were so good at what they were doing that they thought that they will pass that information into their teams and they will be able to do more with that. And that's what separated people previously, right? If you look at what's happening in the big companies like Meta, Google, etc., they are fighting for the top 0.1% of employees. Why is that? When you have somebody that has such high value that you're willing to pay billions, it's not just because of what they know. It's about who they know. It's about how they do things. So the relationships that you have, the ability to distribute, the ability to articulate are extremely important. And this is why I mentioned before that if you are perhaps a very technical person, you need to develop those skills because those are the ones that are going to keep you in a job or in business, whatever it is that you're doing, right? If the top tier is working so hard and fighting so hard for these players, it's because they know that attention and distribution is what matters most. And in so buying another company, for example, when we've seen there was an acquisition of Grok, I think it was Nvidia who acquired Grok. And part of the deal was that the senior management team was absorbed by Nvidia and they will be still part of Grok, but as part of the bigger conglomerate. Why are they doing this? That team has something that no other company had, and it was the ability to parallelize work and provide inference at a speed that no other company could do. And so acquiring the company is just a way of saying, I want this team to come into my company and improve my product. So even though it's a technical field and they are buying a technical skill, Grok, as an independent solution or inference provider, has access to multiple of other companies where they can gather feedback and gather sentiment of the things that are working and the things that aren't. And so that's the dynamic that we are seeing, that even if you work in a small company, if you have colleagues in other places, if you attend events, well, if you are not attending events, I will recommend you to attend events, because the layman's are going to need the ability to basically communicate and articulate and generate demand through organic social. That's where I see things are going to be going. If you have domain experts and they know very well what they are doing, and you have the temptation of sending them off because it's going to make your life easier in the next 6 months, I will recommend you to make them influencers, content creators, whatever you want to call them. That doesn't need to be their full-time job. They could still be part of operations. But make those people start creating some kind of influence online for themselves. You might be saying, oh, well, we can generate with any of the video generation tools, avatars and so on. Yeah, you can do all of that. But it's not going to be the same than if you put a person like me talking to you right now in front of a camera. It's not going to develop their skills in the same way. It's not going to develop things in the same way. I advocate for that. And I do believe that trust is going to be so much more difficult to gain because of all of the operational overload that we're seeing. So all of the production stuff that is happening, if you look at how businesses in general have worked over the years, they will have perhaps most businesses will have a sales function, and that sales function will try to just gather demand as much as possible and bring it into the operational layer until the operational layer gets bottlenecked. And then you add resource into the operational layer so your sales layer can bring even more demand. And it was this kind of like never-ending loop of offer, demand. And it was kind of like this swinging balance between offer and demand. Now, what I was saying previously is that the offer is skyrocketed. So a company with 3 people or a marketing agency can do the work of a 10-people agency. And I mean it, because we are doing that. We have the ability to generate a lot of more work than we've done previously, just simply because we are leveraging AI in a way that we've not done before. So if you don't do this by end of 2026, if you think that you can survive 2026 without, using AI or without having a clear strategy on how you're going to generate demand, I do believe that there's a big chance that by the end of 2026, you are cooked. I haven't cracked the code. I don't know how that's going to look like. I would love to tell you how that looks like, but I do believe that it's going to revolve around 2 things. One is trust. So the ability of that any company can trust the person behind a phone call or behind a Zoom call, Google call, whatever. And 2, the ability for your team to leverage AI in a way that your demand generates, or the top funnel is generated in a way that it doesn't rely on humans. If those 2 things are done well, I'm hoping that a few months down the line, I can pull out another video saying like, you know what I said back in January? It works. So if you manage to listen to all of this, if you manage to listen to all of my rambles, I appreciate you. Let me know in the comments if you think that I'm completely talking bollocks, or if you think that this is something that resonates with you, because I'm really interested in seeing how the people are handling this. And if you have teams and you're managing teams, I'm pretty sure that a lot of people are currently very nervous. So yeah, just hit me up and hopefully we can discuss how you're seeing things. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.